legislation. I would argue that yes, progressives probably are more vocal about it, but the reality is that anyone with that thinks intelligently about public policy is going to stand up and say Medicare has met the test of time. It has been the right thing to do. It's part of our social compact, but it's also good business. You know, how much of in our medical system do we save by having a program like Medicare, where folks that benefit from it have the opportunity to visit a doctor early and maybe get early detection and begin treatment, so you don't need more expensive treatments or surgeries down the line. Medicare is good public policy, good social policy, and it is good business. And there's a reason why, although some mean it more than others, everyone across the political spectrum are going to tell you how important it is to save and protect Medicare for future generations. And I know we are going to see the video about Ruby, and hopefully at a future time we can watch it. I know she's home ill right now, unfortunately, otherwise she would be here personally. But I think everyone has a story about Medicare, either themselves or a family member that benefited from it. And families that would have been wiped out financially but for Medicare. You're looking at one. You know, my mom passed away in February of this year, and she suffered from Alzheimer's for many, many years. And I didn't grow up a rich kid. I grew up in a working class family in West Phoenix. My dad sold shoes at JCPenney at Christown Mall for 30 years. He took the city bus every day to and from work. So when he retired, you know, he retired with dignity. Social Security and Medicare allowed my parents to have dignity in retirement. And when my mom found out she had Alzheimer's, not only is it a terrible disease that takes its toll on the caregiver and the rest of the family, but it's expensive. And Medicare allowed peace of mind to my dad. He was a great caretaker. He kept my mom in the house until 5 days before she moved on to heaven. Did not put her in a facility, was able to, through home care, through the nursing programs that came into the house, and we couldn't have afforded that. There's no way. And Medicare allowed my mom to go through that terrible condition with as much dignity as she could. It allowed my dad to play the role that he vowed to do on his wedding day, to take care of her through good times and bad, through sickness and in health. And it was only because a program like that was in place. We couldn't have afforded to do it otherwise. And I'm just one of millions of people that have stories like that. And we are at a time in our country's history where we are making incredibly important decisions about priorities. We can't do it all. We know we can't do it all with government as much. So we have to prioritize what our priorities should be by any standard of judging a government program. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think that every single government program is corrupt or a waste of money, and you're going to hear that kind of rhetoric from certain folks on the political spectrum. But judged by any criteria, Medicare has been a tremendous success. That smart people looking at smart ways of doing government can create programs that make sense and stand the test of time. That's exactly why each one of you is here. It's because you're here to support Medicare. But guess what? Nobody in this room should take it as a given that Medicare is going to survive this incredibly difficult time. All of us have to speak our mind, be heard, not just vote at the ballot box. That's the least you can do. So you got to vote. Make sure everyone you know votes, which not everyone does. But also to have your voice heard. That means writing letters to the editor, speaking out when you have the opportunities to speak out. Make sure that those that are your peers, but also your family members, folks that are in other generations that may not fully appreciate the benefit of Medicare, understand how important it is, because it's going to be competing And I think ultimately we'll be successful. I'm an optimist. I want to be sure it's clear as I sit here. I don't want to scare, but it's 10 years ago, you know, doing anything to Medicare, changing the basic fundamentals of the program wasn't even considered. And today we have to have an honest conversation that folks are after it. I mean, you see some of the folks in Washington, they present their various budget proposals that changes Medicare as we know it. So to the people in this room, it's time that we all need to step up and speak with one voice. Medicare is worth protecting, it is worth defending, and it works. It works in its current form and saves this country a lot of money in terms of unneeded hospitalizations and procedures. So happy birthday. 40, I think we're going to cut the cake in just a minute. If I might have the liberty of introducing our next speaker, if that's all right. Hey, why not? I, as mayor of the city of Phoenix, unfortunately have to work with a lot of folks down at the legislature. But there was one person that I look forward to working with, someone who was a passionate advocate for all the things that probably most people in this audience care about. Smart healthcare, good quality healthcare. We're going to talk about that today. But education, there is not a bigger passionate advocate for education in our state legislature with both experience in the classroom as well as experience on the policy making side. And it truly is not just a pleasure to work with her. I would argue, for me as mayor, it's an honor to work with her. And I'm proud. I know we can't talk politics because we're a 501c3, other than to say that I can't, after November, I can't wait to work with her for at least 2 more years and beyond. She does a great job in the legislature, and that's our friend, Representative Leela Alston. Leela, come on.